Hundreds of fossils between 5 and 10 million years old have been found in the Sierra foothills in a watershed that supplies East Bay mud. Joining us now to talk more about this discovery is Jack Sung, a biologist with UC Berkeley. Jack, it's so good to have you on here today. I know a lot of people really excited about this discovery. We're talking about a variety of bones here that belong to a number of different prehistoric species. First off, what type of fossils were found, and why is this discovery so significant?
Yes. First of all, the fossils that are found really range from plants to animals, and animals like large elephant-like creatures to small animals, birds and fishes. So really, it's all across the board. And that is exciting because we don't always find such rich fossils in places like California. And in this case, this tells us about really a slice of time in the past, between 5 and 10 million years ago, as you said, where perhaps there was a more permanent body of water around because we had elephant-like animals that relied on water. So that really gives us a sense of what the environment was like back then, and perhaps a little envious because of our drought today.
Yeah, it sort of gives us some insight into that period of time, and a lot of people looking at this as one of the more significant fossil discoveries in California history. The initial discovery, I understand, was made by an East Bay mud ranger at some point last year. Do you sort of have a sense of how he came across these fossils, and then what the process was like to find any additional bones and then preserve everything?
Yes, Alex. No, the way that fossils were first discovered, it's not unlike what the rest of us typically do out in the desert or anywhere we might find fossils, and that is by sheer luck. I believe the EBMUD ranger was surveying the area, and he stumbled across a piece of petrified wood, and that is frequently how we find great, amazing fossil sites in the first place. It's from that little piece of clue that then leads to more effort. I think more people went back, including biologists from Chico State, and they continue to walk the area, and they did it in a more systematic way, and that led them to many more fossils that they're finding and studying right now.
I appreciate you being honest about the fact that in a lot of these cases it's really just luck, where you happen to find something and then you begin to unearth and find more fossils. So this particular site here in the watershed area is now obviously has been secured. And is there more work going on to see if there are even more fossils, and what more has to be done here moving forward?
Yes, based on my understanding, the site is now secured to allow the paleontologists to finish their work there. And part of the goal is to first figure out just how extensive this fossil deposit is. Where does it begin? Where does it end? And based on what I've read, there seems to be miles and miles of rock that contain these fossils. So it sounds like there's quite a bit of more work to be done. And really the next step, in addition to finding the animals, is to figure out, what is the geologic, what is the environmental context? And that will really tell us more about what the environment was like in the Sierra foothills 10 million years ago.
Is this particular time period, a period in our history that we don't have as much of an understanding about?
Well, California overall is a extremely dynamic state, and I'm speaking in a geologic sense. So we have rocks that range from among the oldest on Earth to very recent Ice Age material. So the pages of that geologic book are incomplete because sometimes they're buried under other rocks. In this case, in this particular area of Northern California, we did not know very well what kind of animals, what kind of rocks were producing fossils. So this discovery is significant because it provides both a regional context as well as a broader sort of on a state level, a potentially golden stake, so to speak, to allow us to understand what the animal life was like back in that specific time period. So we have both rocks that are younger and older in other parts of California. But I think for this time period, this is quite an amazing discovery.
Yeah, a window into the past here in our state. Just a fascinating discovery. Really appreciate you coming on to talk more about it. Jack Sung, biologist at UC Berkeley. Thanks for doing it.
Sure thing.